At this time, we'll call to order the regular meeting of Finance Personnel. This is October 8, 2024. Amy, roll please.
Alderperson P-Rock.
Here.
Alderperson Gantz.
Here.
Mayor Boyd.
I'm here.
Alderperson Kundinger.
Here.
Alderperson Quigley.
Alderperson Quigley is excused. Item 2, approval of the minutes from September 10th, 2024, regular meeting of the Finance Personnel Committee. I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion by me, seconded by Alderperson Gantz. Discussion or comments? Seeing there is none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 3, public comment upon matters not on the agenda. Comments made during the public comment period shall pertain only to matters under the jurisdiction of the Finance and Personnel Committee. Anyone in person or virtually have any public comments upon matters not on the agenda, now's your time. It appears no one here because they're here for agenda items. For the second time, any public comment upon matters not on the agenda, now is your time. Please state your name. For the third and final time, any public comment upon matters not on the agenda, if you have anything, just state your name. Thank you. Item 4, consideration and possible action on Wisconsin DPH contract number 155809 in the amount of $35,106. Chris, do you want to pop on up and just give a brief correction and then send them to the memo?
Yes, if you will, just note the memo, the amount should be $17,297 instead.
So whatever is stated in the agenda, that is not accurate. Is everyone okay with that?
That's what it says, isn't it?
Yeah, it is what it says. That I'm chalking that up to new girl error. So it is actually $17,297.
What does yours say? Mine says
That's what it's-
35,000.
No, the agenda item.
The agenda item itself says
Oh,
35,000.
the memo says it.
Correct.
Right, and that's
Okay,
what we're going.
whatever.
Correct.
And that's
Aye.
just so
Yes.
everyone knows, and even at home or wherever, that's what we're going by, is the
That's-
17,000 in the memo, not the agenda item.
Correct.
Got it.
Thank you. I will make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion by me, seconded by Alderperson Kundinger. Discussion or comments? Again, with the stipulation, we're going with the memo amount, $17,297.
That's right.
That said, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Crystal. Item 5, consideration and possible action on the approval of renewal quotation for Microsoft 365 Enterprise Agreement EA. Steve, I know you're out there. You want to just give a brief description on this item?
Sure. So ultimately, we've been out in Microsoft 365 Cloud for the last 3 years, and this encompasses all of our email, Microsoft Teams, essentially the entire Office suite of products that everybody uses every day. So we're at the end of our existing 3-year agreement, and really we're just looking to renew that agreement again at this time.
Thank you. Questions, comments, or a motion?
So just to clarify, the amount, the renewal amount is all going to be integrated into the budget. This is more a technicality than anything else to carry it into the budget renewal process. Okay.
That is correct.
Yep.
I will make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion by me, seconded by Alderperson Kundinger. Any additional discussion or comments? Seeing there are none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Steve. Item 6, consideration and possible action on camera project quotes and vendor selection. Who wants to describe this briefly here?
No, go ahead. I'm
Chief?
Next one. Sorry.
Jen was taking this one.
I did too, and I was very
Getting
confused.
ready,
Apologies
sorry.
on that one, but we're going to go to Chief on this one.
So what we did is we had previously gotten approval to spend some ARPA money along with a budget carryover in the IT budget and some budgeted money from the Parks Department to expand the city's surveillance camera network. And basically what I'm asking for is approval to go ahead and spend up to the amount of money that we have between those three funding sources for the budgeted camera projects that we looked at. In the packet, I showed the 7 different projects, and then we also got 3 quotes from 3 vendors that are all Verkada partners. That's the name of the camera company that we would like to use. So we got the 3 quotes, and we're looking to go ahead and contract with the lowest bidder on those quotes. The same bidder had the lowest quote across all 7 projects, so that made it pretty straightforward from that.
That's good.
standpoint.
All right. Anyone have any questions, comments? And this is what we were looking for when we had talked about this in previous meetings, so I'm very comfortable with all this. I'd make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion by me, seconded by Alderperson Cunninger. Discussion or comments? All right, seeing there are none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Item 7, consideration and possible action to approve 2024 benefit renewal and plan design changes. Shannon, this will be you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
So as you probably recall, going back, we've had a significant surplus in our health fund. Unfortunately, that's no longer the case, so the day has come. Our goal is to have a 6-month reserve balance, which equals about $1.2 million. So right now, our plan is running just under $1 million, so it means we're a little short. So for 2025, we're recommending a 10% increase in premiums going forward. Now, that being said, 10% is more than we'd like to do, but when we compare it, we look back at our total premiums going back a number of years. We look back 16 years ago, even with the 10% increase, our total cost for premiums will still be less than they were 16 years ago. So, that being said, we're still very happy with how our plan is running. I don't think there's many employers that can say that that's the case. When most employers are seeing double-digit increases year after year, our increases are still lower than they were back 16 years ago. So we're still happy with how our plan is running. The only plan design change that we're looking at, one other thing I wanted to mention on that you may recall, some years ago, we changed our cost difference for employees versus what the city was paying for non-represented employees. That doesn't even take that into consideration. When we still look at our total premiums as a whole, regardless of the cost share, our cost, that still is less than, when we look at total premiums, than the rates were going back 16 years. So I just didn't want you to think that's just because employees are paying less overall in cost share than they had in the past. The only change that we're looking at making to the health plan for 2025 medical plan is looking at changing our out-of-pocket max costs. Just to kind of remind everybody what that is, for certain services, employees will pay at their deductible for services, and then right now it's $2,000 out of deductible for employees. Once employees pay that deductible, then the city pays 80% of those costs going forward. The member pays 20% of the costs up to the max out-of-pocket. So right now, our max out-of-pocket, the most any individual member would pay for their services is $3,000, and we're looking at recommending that max out-of-pocket change to $4,000. So we did a comparison of other public sector entities, and that's very much in line with other entities, so we feel like that's just a minor change. We will save about a 1.5% by going with that change, so we think it's a good change going forward. Other than that, we have a stop-loss insurance plan in place right now that once claims hit $130,000 for any individual member, then the insurance company pays for those claims. We have had a few members hit stop loss in this year and last year as well, and we do have some members that are getting close to it. So we did our renewal with our current group. They were they're imposing a 28% increase with our stop loss carrier for next year. Not surprising based on the number of members that we had close to that. So we did go out to market for stop loss, shopped around for services, and we did find a carrier that would renew us again for next year, not taking out any lasers on individual members. Sometimes you see that with stop loss carriers where they'll say, we'll insure you, but for these members, we're not covering services for them at all, and then the city would be completely on the hook. Given the size of the city, I never feel comfortable with that. It's just too much of a risk for us. So we always tell our carriers that we're not interested in quoting with a laser. We want everybody to have coverage, and that we want a true stop loss kicking in at $130,000. So we did get some rates, and the company that we're going to renew with is Sun Life, or that we're recommending renewing with. They came in at a 14.4% increase, and we had budgeted 15%. So we're very happy with that, given all the circumstances. We did also go to market for pharmacy, as we do most years, and we're recommending staying with our current carrier, National Cooperative. They offer very competitive rates, so we're recommending staying with them for next year. On the dental side, we have two different types of dental plan. We have a fully insured dental plan and a self-insured plan. Our fully insured plan is doing a 3% increase for next year. We don't have any control over those costs. Our self-insured group, we are recommending a 3% increase. And, our plan overall is running really well. We have not increased our dental rates in 5 years. So this will be the first increase we will be seeing in 5 years, which we're very happy about. On the fully insured plan, back to that, we are going to be expanding our network a little bit on the fully insured side with Care Plus, our program, and just to offer our members a little bit more opportunity to go to other places other than just dental associates if they have the need. So that I think people will be happy about, and there's no cost to the city for that additional service. And then the last thing I just wanted to mention on the vision side, it's a fully insured plan as well, that those rates will be going up 5%, and those costs are completely paid for by employees. So it's the same plan that we've offered going forward, it's just the rates are going up by 5%. So that is an overview. Happy to answer any questions.
I'm not sure if you mentioned, but who's our insurance carrier?
Our insurance company is UMR.
UMR, okay, all right, so that's who we have. And then was there an increase last year?
Last year we did a 10%. The year before, I think it was 5%, and then we had decreases. So even, like I said, even with a 10% increase for next year, our rates are still lower than 16 years ago. So yes, we've done increases the last couple of years because we were trying to eat up that significant surplus. Now we've gotten to the point we've eaten up our surplus, so now we're on kind of a even playing field going forward, and we should be we've now eaten up our surplus, so going forward, hopefully we'll just have nominal increases.
Okay,
But we've been pretty fortunate for the last 16 years.
good.
Yeah.
Questions, comments from anybody here? So if we're going to be approving this, we're approving all of them, correct? Health,
Correct.
stop loss, the whole thing. All right. Anyone have anything?
No, I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Motion by Alderperson P-Rock, seconded by Alderperson Gantz. Additional discussion and/or comments on the health insurance plans? Does this go to council? Okay. Seeing that there are none, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. And this goes to council as well, so that's good. Item 8, consideration and possible action to determine salaries for the mayor and city council for 2026, 27, 28, and 29. Shannon.
Yes, so it's time to set salaries for those positions going forward. If you remember in past years, you're typically only setting those at 2 years, going out 2 years. The reason it's different this year, we're recommending 4 years, is because the council proposed the change to change the term limits for alderpersons and the mayor to 4 years, or to 3 years.
Three.
This next term for the mayor will be 4 years, and then going forward, the alderpersons and everybody will be kind of on that same cycle. So what we're recommending for now, to get kind of in line where we only have to take this forward every 3 years going forward, this time, one time alone, it'll be setting the rates for 4 years, but then going forward, we would be then just asking that you set the increases for 3 years. So in your packet, we did, as we always do, kind of show you the historical data from what the increases, what previous councils have recommended for mayor and salary increases in the past, as well as gathered the data from other communities to show what other communities are paying the mayor as well as the alderpersons. We typically don't come in with a recommended increase like we typically do with most recommendations. It's completely up to what the council wants to do. The only thing that I would mention, or that I typically mention, is what we're proposing in the budget for non-represented employees. And for 2025, we're recommending a 3%. So, but the reason it needs to be done now is before anybody that currently serves on the council is up for election.
And I think, hopefully you're done. And I think you have in here, we did 2%. We did 2%.
You did a nice job.
Hopefully you do.
We did 2% for mayor and alderpersons, correct?
Correct.
Is what I'm seeing all the way back. Yeah, for a long time. Okay. My apologies. Were you done?
I was done.
There was a slight pause there, so I thought I gathered that. Questions or comments from anybody? I mean, again, it's pretty standard as we go forward here, and there are comparables that people can look at if they want. I'm always of the ilk that we move this at least minimum to council, and then we can have the discussion there. So, so what we're voting on is the rates at 2% for the years that are identified, correct?
Anything could be proposed. Right now, there's not a recommended proposal increase. You can refer to the council to come up with a suggestion, or you could come up with a recommendation to propose to council.
What do y'all think?
I'm fine doing it at council.
Okay, everyone good with that?
Yep.
All right, so we'll approve it and then the terms based at council. Have we had a motion? I don't think so. I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion by me, seconded by Alderperson Gantz, with the understanding that the rates will be determined at the council. You're good with that, Amy? Yes, Amy? All right. Any additional questions and/or comments? Seeing there are none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 9, consideration and possible action on the City of De Pere investment and cash detail, August 2024. Pam is virtual. Does anyone have any questions on the investment and cash detail for Pam?
No.
I had none. I'll make a motion to receive and place on file.
I'll second.
Motion by me, second by Alderperson P-Rock. Pam, before we go, anything out there that you want to identify that we're missing here?
Nope, well, we're still doing well. Our investments continue to grow.
Very good, thank you, and that's what it looked like as well. That said, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Thanks, Pam. Item 10, consideration and possible action on step 2. Is that where we are, right? Yeah. Consideration and possible action on step 2 of De Pere Fire Union Local 141 grievance regarding lieutenant promotional process. So I think the players then get to their tables. Eric, I think you're going to lead us here. So everyone understands we'll have the participants go to where they have to go. Eric Erdman, our Assistant City Attorney, will be advising the Finance and Personnel Committee because our City Attorney, Tony Walkowitz, will be representing De Pere out there at the table. So I think the other side would sit over there then. You guys can head right over there.
Thank you.
Do we need names entered in, or? Eric, you want to go from here?
Yeah.
All yours.
Yeah, so I think for the process, we'll let the party that filed the grievance go first, and then they'd be able to answer any questions after by the other side or by the committee, and then the city will be able to follow them, and then there'll be a chance for rebuttal on both sides. So I think, and then ultimately, if you want, you don't have to, but the committee may go into closed session, deliberate, and then may make a decision by going back into open, or announcing the decision.
Very
in
good,
open.
thank you. All right, so I believe we're going there.
Thank you. So is it this body's position or characterization that we're having a fact-finding hearing today on this?
Yeah.
Okay, I was not aware of that, which is fine because I guess if the
Well, yeah, you can provide. Yeah, I mean, you can kind of summarize your position however you want to do it, and then.
Sure.
Or just knock that down, that's fine. I'll take that.
Okay.
Thank you.
If any of you have any questions of Tim, I'm sure he's happy to answer them. I didn't. We don't have a ton of necessarily formal things for them. I just have provided the committee and city attorney and HR director just with copies of our sort of step 3 piece of it, which is where we're at as far as I was sort of reviewing from the collective bargaining agreement. That's the Article 5.53. Really, it just sort of is a description of, like I said, the step 3 form, today's date. It has the step 2. I don't have the step 1 history or piece of it, but it pretty much follows the step 2 piece. There's just a brief statement from my client that's listed in the attachments. The third attachment is the open records request response that I received from the last 4 promotional processes. And then just the City of De Pere Lieutenant job description / posting. So if the committee has any additional questions for me or my client, we're happy to answer those. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone have any questions at this point, or do you want to hear from the other side?
Nope.
Give me a minute to read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm just glancing at this, looks like a statement that Firefighter Sinclair wrote, so I didn't get a chance to go through it. First time, just haven't seen it, I hadn't seen it yet. So what we did see is the initial grievance form, which essentially asserts that some favoritism Chief showed favoritism toward Del Zuliger. Upon information and belief, Mr. Zuliger did not meet the minimum requirements for the promotion to lieutenant as required by position posting. So essentially what happened, the overview, we had a lieutenant vacancy.
Can I slide the microphone?
Yep. Thanks. Sorry. So we had a lieutenant vacancy, and in steps to fill that vacancy, we followed the same process in 2024 that we did in 2023. Essentially, each candidate was asked to take a written test. If they scored a certain amount on the written test, then it was opportunity to advance the next step. The next step was a combination of scenario-based questions as well as an interview panel. The interview panel was evaluators from outside the department, led by our department HR. At the conclusion of that panel, the recommendation was made to promote Del Zuliger. With regard to the accusations of not having experience, we feel that Del has all the minimum requirements that are for the job completed and did better in the process. So ultimately was our selection. We followed the process outlined by the Police and Fire Commission. The process outlined by the Police and Fire Commission essentially says that the procedure to develop the recommendation for a promotion within the department will be an interview process, which may include a written examination or various assessments. The oral interview will be with the interview panel consisting of, at a minimum, one fire administration and human resource. We had one fire administration from De Pere, not myself, one led by human resource, and 3 outside evaluators. The chief and human resources will determine the passing score for written examination and any other assessment conducted. The fire chief will recommend an individual to be promoted, giving due consideration to the individual's interview, any completed examinations and assessments, past work performance, and disciplinary record. So I feel we followed the process exactly what was laid out. We followed the process just like we did in 2023. And without getting a chance to really digest what's in this statement, I really don't have a rebuttal for this yet.
I would just add one thing, just kind of getting back to some of the basics. The purpose of a grievance in a labor contract is if the union feels that there's a violation of the contract. So when we look at what is in the contract language in the union contract, it talks about promotions shall follow the processes established by the Police and Fire Commission. That's really, there's some other narrative, but that really what it comes down to. So then we go to what did the Police and Fire Commission establish for their process, and that process was followed. So I guess from our standpoint, we're not sure where the violation of the grievance is coming from, and we'd love to hear from the union as to when, they stated in the grievance that it was not a fair and equitable process, but that doesn't get us back to what is the violation of the contract. Somebody could say something's not fair, but that's not a contract violation or whatnot. So I guess we'd love to hear from the union as to what is truly what was truly violated according to the labor contract.
them to respond?
Yeah, you can go ahead and respond to
thank
that.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the level of Article 7, employment and promotion. The idea that we have a lateral sort of person coming in, has a year on with this department, you know, and then this particular body indicates in their open records response that the interview panel determined that Mr. Sinkler was not being recommended for the position, which is also just very different from what he was then told as to the reasons why he was not hired for the position. He had had a conversation just sort of detailing what he could do to improve, improving his performance, those kinds of things. And the response he had gotten at that time was his answers weren't what they were looking for. And now it's, you know, in this preliminary open records process that we've received, that now the interview panel determined that Mr. Sinkler was not being recommended for the position. And then particularly as the statement details, there's just been some very inconsistent hiring and promotional processes over the last several years, which, as I indicated, we believe violates that Article 7 employment and promotion process.
So if I can ask just really quick, was there anything within the process that you guys weren't happy with of the article itself? Was there something that wasn't followed? You know, obviously, you know, it stung, he wasn't picked, but the process itself is outlined with the article. Was there anything that bothered you about the process? About the interview process, about the written test, anything?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just the idea that the factors aren't given the appropriate weight when you're considering the longevity with the department.
Okay.
And I would just mention that the process that was established by the Police and Fire Commission setting the minimum qualifications for the position are not that somebody has to have certain amount of years within the department. It's collective years working as a firefighter. It's 5 years experience. So both candidates met the minimum qualifications for the position as established by the commission. They both met and exceeded the qualifications for the position. They were both qualified to apply for the position, hence why they were allowed to participate. If one person doesn't meet the qualifications, they're not even allowed to start the process. They're not even allowed to participate.
that's
So
how it
both were
starts.
qualified. I know sometimes, you know, candidates are not happy with who's selected for a position, but the chief does have the discretion, according to the Police and Fire Commission, to determine, based on the process, who he wants to promote. He tries to use a panel to help guide, to provide additional input through the process, and selected people outside the city to help, you know, be involved in the interview. And at the end of the day, a different person was selected. A different person within the union was selected for the position.
Yep.
And I'll just add as well, that subject to that authority or the discretion of the chief, I mean, the statute is clear under 62.13 that the chief has the discretion on making promotions of subordinates, and that the only thing that is subject to is what the process is as established by the Police and Fire Commission, which has been explained by both the chief and HR director. That was followed as part of this process. So the statute is clear that the chief's discretion is very wide, subject to the guidance and approval of the PFC.
So going back to you, is there anything else that you can identify that you think didn't put your person in favorable light, or the other person didn't meet some kind of requirement?
Well, I'd like to address that. It's not towards Dell or the other party at all. I have no problems with that. It's the way that it was set up. 5 years service experience with a full service municipal, county, or state agency. I believe he doesn't fit that, because I call myself Brown County Builders. That means I'm a state or a county employee. With his history in Shawano being a private ambulance, County Rescue being a private ambulance, he has the experience on the job, but meeting that definition is where I think the issue comes, is that all of a sudden, to provide some background for you, over the last 3 promotional processes I've been in, the minimum requirements have changed. First time I did it, Long time ago, it was 7 years departmental experience. So you know the streets, you know the people, you know the protocols. Then it became 5. The last 2 processes were 5 years experience at the pier. So you got to know the people you were serving, got to know the streets, got to know the protocols. Now it is 5 years of anything. I think that's doing a disservice to the people on our department, the people on our city. You know, that's where I see the biggest issue here, is that following the letter as it's written, it has to be full service, municipal, county, or state agency. So with his history of working at private ambulances, that does not qualify under that specific language.
Thank you. You guys want to address that, or?
I guess when we reviewed the history of the employee, they certainly exceeded the qualifications. I know Mr. Sinclair is disagreeing with not meeting the qualifications, but the employee that also participated certainly exceeded and has a number of years working in the fire industry for other agencies. I know when it was initially, the grievance was initially filled out, it was expressed that they didn't know of some years of service that this individual had. I was hoping that that would clear up some of the confusion, but apparently it did not. But I guess at the end of the day, you know, we have the discretion to determine, the Police and Fire Commission sets the process. We have to follow the process in which it was followed. And unfortunately, and I will say in terms of the 7 years experience to 5 years, yes, every time we do a recruitment, we're rehashing, relooking at processes. We, as you can see, you know, last year we only had 2 people that are interested in promotion. So have we changed our years of experience to try to gather some more people that would be qualified for positions, for promotions in the department? Absolutely. Sometimes if we set the bar too high or set too many years of experience, we may end up with no candidates. So every time before we do a recruitment, we're always looking at what is the appropriate minimum qualifications that we have for a position. And sometimes for positions, we have to change things as we go just to, you know, make sure that we're still running a good process. So we felt that still having 5 years experience as a firefighter, you know, you could have people that come into the department. In this situation, this employee that came in the department had supervisory experience already coming into the department, which certainly I think helped in getting that person promoted. They already had experience performing as a supervisor. So although not experience working as a firefighter long here for the city, but a combination of the years of experience, they certainly exceeded the years of experience that were required.
Thank you.
Did you want to say anything else at this point?
No, thank you.
Okay. You guys okay too?
Yep.
So now you can, if you would like to deliberate, you may go into closed session.
Should I just see really quick, do you guys have any questions you want to ask before we go? Are you guys, you want to go in, are you okay with closed session then? So we can talk about this? Closed session, everybody? It sounds like that's what they want to do.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep.
So what I'll do is I'll read this then.
Yes.
And then we'll make a motion to head out. So we're going to go to closed session and talk, just so everyone understands. Please take notice that the committee may convene in closed session pursuant to any or all of the following subsections of Wisconsin Statute 1985L for the purpose of, I've got a lot to say here, so bear with me. A, deliberating concerning a case which was the subject of any judicial or quasi-judicial trial or hearing before that governmental body. B, considering dismissal, demotion, licensing, or discipline of any public employee or person licensed by a board or commission, or the investigation of charges against such person, or considering the grant of denial of tenure for a university faculty member, and the taking of formal action on any such matter, provided that the faculty member or any other public employee or licensed person licensed is given actual notice of any evidentiary hearing which may be held prior to the final action being taken, and of any meeting at which final action may be taken. The notice shall then contain a statement that the person has the right to demand that the evidentiary hearing or meeting be held in open session. This paragraph and paragraph F, Par F, do not apply to any such evidentiary hearing or meeting where the employees or person licensed request that an open session be held. C, considering employment, promotion, or compensation or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility. F, considering financial, medical, social, or personal histories or disciplinary data of specific persons, preliminary consideration of specific personnel problems, or the investigation of charges against specific persons, except where paragraph B applies, which, if discussed in public, would be likely to have a substantial adverse effect upon the reputation of any person referred to in such histories or data, or involved in such problems or investigations. G, conferring with legal counsel for the governmental body who is rendering oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation in which it is or is likely to become involved. The committee may then reconvene in open session to take action on any matter discussed in closed session or for such purposes as are allowed by law. I'd make a motion to go to closed session.
I'll second.
Motion by me, seconded by Alderperson Cuniger. We need a roll call vote, please. Sorry.
Nope, that's fine. Alderperson Pere.
Aye.
Alderperson Gantz.
Aye.
Mayor Boyd.
Aye.
Alderperson Kundinger. Aye. Alderperson Quigley.
And he is excused. Motion carries. Thank you. Jamie, so you know, we're going to go to closed session, so anyone that's out there, we're going to have to take them away. All right. It appears everyone's seated right now. I want to thank Assistant City Attorney Erdman for helping us out during our discussions and deliberation. We did talk and we did discuss based on what we could talk and discuss about and what we're charged to do as the Finance and Personnel Committee. I want to thank both sides for presenting. That was very, very helpful. That said, you want to hear the decision by the Finance Personnel Committee, and we'll keep it very short. I'll make a motion to uphold the city's decision to deny the grievance.
I'll second.
Motion by me, seconded by Alderperson P-Rock. Additional discussion and or comments? Seeing there are none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. At this time, I will go to item 11, future agenda items. I'm sorry, we're all done here. Anyone have a future agenda item? I will then go to item 12 and make a motion to adjourn. I would need a second.
I'll second.
Motion by me, seconded by Alderperson Gantz. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We're officially adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.